The Ravens Preview Show with Andy Pollin starts right now.
It wasn't perfect, it wasn't pretty, but it was the Ravens.
Listen to all Ravens broadcasts right here on 6:30 a.m., the ESPN 630 app, or ESPN630DC.com.
And with 1:17 left to play, the Hayes in the barn.
Now, here's Andy Pollin.
All right, Ravens playing tomorrow. Playing on a Saturday afternoon, 4:30 kickoff at M&T Bank Stadium as they take on the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is one of the great rivalries in the NFL, but Pittsburgh has been dominant in recent years. They've won 6 of the last 7, including a game in Baltimore at Pittsburgh in October where they won 17-10. Pittsburgh leads the all-time series 34-25, so this is the 60th meeting between the two teams, but meaningless for Baltimore as they are going to rest quarterback Lamar Jackson, and they are going to rest a number of other starters with everything clinched, and then they have the bye week coming up. They have added, I think, key player to the roster. We'll see what he's got left. He's only 28 years old, but Dalvin Cook has reportedly signed with the Ravens. He'll be added to the practice squad and probably won't play tomorrow, but will be available for the playoffs. We'll have a couple of weeks to get ready for the rest of the team. As you know, they've lost 2 running backs this year, J.K. Dobbins and Keaton Mitchell, both of them on injured reserve. Dobbins suffered a torn Achilles during the opening game against Houston, and Mitchell's year was cut short when he tore his ACL during a win last month over the Jacksonville Jaguars. They have Gus Edwards, Justice Hill, and Melvin Gordon, but Cook has been very good. Another failed move by the New York Jets as they were loading up. He had 4 straight 1,000-yard seasons playing for the Vikings, had 1,500 yards just 2020, and the Vikings released him in June, signed to a 1-year deal by the Jets in August, $7 million, including $5.8 million in guaranteed money. You'll hear Adam Schefter lay this all out as to in fact, but let's do that now as we wait for Luke Jones. This is Adam Schefter on the signing of Cook and why it made sense for both sides for this to happen.
He wanted to have the opportunity to pursue a Super Bowl, and he wanted the chance to make playoff bonus money, and he wanted to play on a winner. The Baltimore Ravens fit on all standards. Plus, they have a need at the running back position. You'll remember they lost Keaton Mitchell earlier in the year, and now they can add a running back like Dalvin Cook, who initially signs with Baltimore's practice squad, then will be elevated shortly before Baltimore's playoff game, the divisional playoff game, and he'll wind up playing in that game and getting some work in the Ravens' backfield. So he was looking for an ideal fit. He felt like this was it. And once he cleared waivers today and no other playoff team claimed him off waivers, that enabled him to go ahead and sign with Baltimore after he forfeited and waived some of the guaranteed money that the New York Jets would have owed him. He wanted to give up that money to go play for a contender. He gets his wish.
Yeah, so it makes sense. He's giving up money, guaranteed money, signed a $7 million deal with the Jets. You get all the money even if you don't finish the season, even if they release you as a veteran. But he asked for his release, giving up some of that money with the Jets, but he will make it up in Baltimore because even if they go out in the first round, there's playoff money. It used to be that was everything for guys. That's how they made their year. And we didn't have a lot of playoffs, but back in the day, you had a league championship game, and if you won the Super Bowl, it was like $6,000. And $6,000 for a guy making 12 was a big deal. Now the playoff money is just kind of like extra bonus, extra little bit there, and you just sort of roll with that. I mentioned the Pro Bowl players for the Ravens. They've got 7 of them this year, which is typical of a team that finishes as high as they did. The Pro Bowlers, Lamar Jackson, Roquan Smith, Kyle Hamilton, defensive tackle Justin Mandebuke, center Tyler Linderbaum, linebacker Patrick Queen, and kicker Justin Tucker. And you might as well pencil in Tucker's name every year, best kicker of all time. 4 of them making it for the first time: Hamilton, Mandebuke, Queen, and Linderbaum. And you'll hear from Linderbaum coming up shortly. But in talking to the media the other day after the Pro Bowl rosters were announced, he said he got called up to Eric DeCosta's office. The guy's had a good year, and he's thinking, getting called into the GM's office. What is this? And they made a big thing. They put out a video. You can probably look it up on Ravens.com where he's congratulating him on finally making it. And centers, that's the way it generally goes for offensive linemen, that they don't get noticed on teams that are bad and on teams that are very good, like this one that rushes the ball well and has a quarterback who's probably going to be the MVP of the league. He gets recognized, but very low-key about it and, says we have much bigger goals here. We want to win other things. So there's that. As for the Steelers, and they come in here with a lot to play for. Now they're going with Mason Rudolph, who has come in, and Mason Rudolph has done a pretty decent job for them. They are actually now 4-point favorites in this game, and they're 9-7. So they're in the mix with a lot of teams in the AFC, and this is obviously a must-win for them. Now, the Ravens are in a position of, well, we want to be sure we're sharp for the playoffs, but we want to make sure that we're healthy. So they're kind of walking the line of who do we rest, how much do we rest them, and do we try to win the game to try to stay sharp? All right, let's roll through some of the comments this week about the move. And this was John Harbaugh this week announcing the decision, which makes all the sense in the world, that Lamar Jackson is not going to play tomorrow.
I just think you just kind of consider all things. There's really not any one thing that goes into it. Just all things considered, it seemed to be the right thing to do. I mean, have conversations with Lamar and others and make the decision. Yeah,
and Lamar, as for how he feels about this, Lamar's a guy who likes to play, but he has missed the ends of the last two seasons, the last 5 games of each of the last 2 years with injuries. So he's totally on board with this.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. Me and Coach talked about it. I felt like it was best suitable to sit me and stuff like that for this run.
Though? Knowing you could keep Pittsburgh out of the playoffs, the rival, all that, does it make it harder?
I believe Snoop can get the job done, and we got guys who going to go out there and play ball out, I got all the faith in my team.
Snoop is Tyler Huntley, the backup quarterback. Actually, last year did get them into the playoffs, and they had a chance to beat Cincinnati in that playoff game. They had like a 92-yard return of a fumbled play at the goal line, which was really the difference in the game. So they may even win. It's as good as the Ravens have been playing recently. And as Harbaugh said, he said it's not like in college, where you got 100 guys on the roster. You got to put guys out there on the field. You can only rest so many guys, and it's not like the exhibition season where you have the expanded roster and you rest a lot of guys, and the starters don't even play in the last playoff game. You can't do that when you only have 53 guys on the roster. So we're going to see some regulars play, and they might win the game. This is more on Lamar, and we played this yesterday from Adam Schefter, how may have been some collusion going on around the league, that Lamar coming back to the Ravens, which at one point Jason Lockenfora said to Tony, forget it, it's over, it's done, he's leaving Baltimore. Really wasn't offers out there for him for a variety of reasons. One, you had to give up 2 number 1 picks if you sign him. And the other thing is, nobody was willing to go to the level of Deshaun Watson of guaranteeing all the money. So Lamar became the highest paid player in the NFL, but the Ravens really weren't bidding against anybody else because nobody else was jumping into this mix. All's well that ends well, I guess. Lamar is going to be the MVP of the league. The Ravens have the best record in the league at 13-3. And this is John Harbaugh with looking back on that.
Yeah, happy, very happy. Couldn't be any happier. I mean, this is the outcome that honestly that I hoped for and prayed for. And to see it come about this way, not surprising. I think you never know, but I think my thought was that it was going to happen, that he was going to be a Raven, just because I felt like he wanted to be a Raven, but also because I was on the outside of it, kind of watching a little bit, not being directly involved. I just felt my feeling was Lamar wanted to be here, and Eric and Steve wanted Lamar here, and that being the case, it was going to work out one way or another somehow. And so I just was patient, in my mind, that when we start practicing, Lamar will be out there. But beyond that, I think what I'm really excited about through all of that is just Lamar's character, his competitiveness, his desire to be great, to your point, to be the best. That has never been in question, but I think it's shown very true throughout the whole process.
More from Harbaugh, what he's seen this year. He's already a great player, But this year, he probably took it to another level, mostly as a passer. This is Harbaugh and what he's seen in 2023 from Lamar Jackson.
It's just kind of a natural progression. I mean, he's always been a great player since he got here. But his ability to improve across the board, I think his ability over the course of the season to assimilate the offense that we're in now. A lot of things are very similar to what we've done in the past, but a lot of things aren't, and operating at the line of scrimmage and making certain decisions that showed up even in this last game are a big part of it too. He's throwing the ball well. He's moving in the pocket. He's seeing the field. He's protecting the ball. All the run game checks that he makes. I mean, there's a lot of things.
Well, a lot of it is getting familiar with the new system. Todd Monken coming in, if you look at their early games in the season, they weren't putting up points like they are now. And they were even talking about that at the beginning of the year, like, yeah, it's going to take a while for us to get adapted to it, but once we get it, we're going to be rolling. And they are right now. The last 2 weeks, what they have done against San Francisco and last week hanging 56 on Miami, that's an offense that's in high gear with the best player in the league running it. It's going well. Getting the ball in play every play, Tyler Linderbaum, second year in the NFL, first year in the Pro Bowl, and discussed it with the media about the honor and what he received.
It feels good. I mean, especially, year two. It's not really an accolade I try to play for. Accolades aren't something I try to play for. But I think it happens when the team's playing well. You're going to get more guys that, get recognized. I said in an interview yesterday, I think a lot of credit goes to my teammates as well, too. The guys I play next to, making my job a little bit easier. And then, the coaching staff and stuff like that. But, it was a good feeling. It wasn't a good feeling initially when someone said I had to go up and talk to EDC, but because, you never know. But, no, it was good when he told me, the cameras were in there, and it was a pretty cool experience.
EDC is Eric DeCosta, the very successful general. He'll probably be executive of the year in the NFL. This is the last thing from Linderbaum, and this is – coaches love it when offensive linemen talk like this. Linderbaum, Pro Bowl center, AFC, says this about the honor.
At the end of the day, the Pittsburgh Steelers aren't going to care on Saturday if I'm a Pro Bowler or not. I'm still going to have to go out there and play. Just enjoy it for whenever they said, I made the Pro Bowl, but I got to move ahead and, focus on this upcoming game and then into the playoff push. Because we're all chasing a goal, that is bigger than Pro Bowls.
Yeah, that's right. And remember John Thompson after Georgetown won the Big East championship, and he had the net around his neck, and he said, "I want bigger strings than this," meaning the NCAA tournament. That's a little different individual honor, but that's the mindset that linemen have, and that's the mindset that the Ravens have, and they do need to get over that playoff hump. And you're going to hear more and more talk about 2019 when they had the best record, and then they got run over by Tennessee in the playoff game. What Harbaugh said about that, by the way, was that they had played well offensively. They just couldn't get enough points in that game, and they didn't do a good job of stopping King Henry. But other than that, he thought they played pretty well in that game. And it's just one of those things that happens in football, kind of an anomaly. And whoever they play in 2 weeks, he thinks will be a different story. I think you're also seeing a better version of Lamar Jackson than you saw in 2019. There's some things that have been added to his game. The offense and the defense is just red hot right now. Just a great defense. It's I started doing sports radio in Washington in 1992, right after the Redskins won their last Super Bowl. And I always wondered what it would be like to do sports radio in a town where the football team is really, really good. That's what it must be like in Baltimore now, that there's only nits to pick. There's only but otherwise, top to bottom, this team is unbelievable. Every spot. They got the best kicker in football, best kicker ever. They got a quarterback who's going to win his second MVP. They got a defense that's playing at a high level. It's the only thing that could beat them is themselves at this point, it looks like. And although they are underdogs tomorrow, it's a game that doesn't mean anything to them with everything clinched. Coverage here, again, will start at 4 o'clock after the Virginia-NC State basketball game, and then kick off 4:30 at M&T Bank Stadium.